Let's see. Oh, sorry. Lots of AI note takers asking for access. Trying to make sure I don't miss anyone. Hello, hello. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Michelle. Amy, Amy with the I and Amy with the Y. Hi, Heather.
Hey
Hi,
there.
Kirsten and Eileen. Yay. Happy to have you. It looks like we have a couple Elaine's note takers here. So oh, there's two more coming. Okay. Yay. Hello, hello. Another Amy. We got 3 Amy's today. That must mean something.
Trouble is what it means.
Well, hello and welcome everyone. I'm going to wait about a minute or so to see if anyone else comes in, and then we will get started. I am so happy to have you all here and for another exciting party. We had one yesterday and had lots of fun, had lots of great questions and info session. So hopefully we will have the same. In the meantime, as I wait a minute or so before we get started, I'll be doing introductions and try to keep it under a minute. I don't want to have to start using a timer, but I will if I have to. You know, we're all podcasters and speakers. We like to talk, right? But when you introduce yourself, just tell us who you are, where you're from, if you have a podcast or not. We want to hear, are you a podcaster, a podcast guest, a speaker, or all of the above? That way, when I speak with our speaker today, Bona, we can kind of, focus on the areas that are more impactful for you. I know most of you, and I'm going to say today we have a lot more podcasters in the mix, but we will still love to hear from you. Are you a guest? Have you thought about a podcast? Do you have one? That way we have a sense of who's here and how we're going to talk about the topic today. All righty. Well, we have lots to talk about, so let's just get started. I will officially welcome you to the Women's Podcaster Party. I know everyone in this room, so I don't really have to go into it, but I am Julie, a podcaster speaker, coach and advocate, and I love helping women find their place in podcasting and use it to share their story and grow their business. So that is why I've created this community, and I love every month seeing it grow and expand, but also have lots of new people come and familiar faces. So today we're going to be talking about AI tools within the realm of podcasting. So I'm going to start introductions with our speakers so she can tell you a little bit about herself, and then you'll hear much more later. So Bona, go ahead.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Bona. I am one of the co-founders of Capsho, which is an AI-powered content marketing tool, and it basically helps people who are creating content get more results from it. I am originally from Australia, but I currently live in Austin, Texas.
We have some Texas people in the room. Several, actually, as I'm realizing. And Bona and I had a great conversation yesterday and lots of good questions for her from her perspective of software side, app side, tools. And they're in the middle of creating new ones too. So it's really great to get feedback for her because then it's even more user-friendly for all of us. Okay, I'm just going to start picking people this time. Eileen, you're next to me. Would you like to go?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Eileen McDonald, and I live in Dallas, so not too far, Bona. I'm a couple of hours away. And I am not a, I do not, I'm a podcast guest. I don't have a podcast as of yet. So that's a little about me.
Great. Thank you. I always love that. I love it when I start hearing people say more of not yet. I'm like, yay, that's movement. Okay, Kirsten, you want to go?
Sure. My name is Kirsten Weiss, and I write mystery novels about women going through some sort of transformation and solving crimes. So far, I am just a podcast guest, but I've been doing more and more videos thanks to Elaine Williams. So I'm very curious about any AI assistants out there.
That's perfect because we'll talk about and we'll discuss how Capsho can really be used with any video. It doesn't have to be a podcast. And that's one of the reasons I wanted her to come and talk, because I think a lot of times people think, oh, it's just for podcasts. No, it's any piece of info you want to expand the use. So that's great. Okay, my friend Tracy is next in my row. My fellow curly-haired tall girl.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I am Tracy. I am in Santa Cruz, California. I spent a number of years as just a podcast guest yet, but launched my podcast, which is called the Bold and Brilliant Podcast with Tracy Rue. This past January, as a result, and many thanks to my collaboration with Julie, who helped me get it started. And it's super fun, and it teaches me a lot about not being attached to plans. And also lots of, love to Michelle and Elaine and Karen, who all have paved the way before me and who are my friends here.
Yay. And I will say that Tracy, as well as many others, Michelle, Karen, Elaine, I think that was everyone in this room. We were all on a cruise a few weeks ago. That was a cruise retreat for women podcasters and speakers. So there's another one next year, which I will drop a link for later. It was super fun to be on a cruise and not only get to, there's nothing like being it in person with people, right? And getting to travel and explore, but also have time, like the sea days. That was the time we spent together, masterminding, talking. I had a round table people came to about podcasting. Elaine talked about video. Tracy talked about groups and communities. So we all had a chance to share what we do, but also learn from each other. And so that's why, I created this community. It's the same thing, is to have a space to feel open and free to ask the questions that you may be afraid to ask in the larger group. So happy to have you here, Tracy. Okay, next up is Heather.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Heather. I'm from Katy, Texas. And I have been a guest on podcasts. I've been a speaker on podcasts, and my podcast will be coming out the 1st of June. So I'm excited for that. And so I am also a coach, a business consultant also, and I'm an advocate for women and in all aspects. And I'm happy that Julie has a space for us. And, I look forward to learning from everyone.
Yay. Thank you, Heather. So happy to have you. Let's see. I think that's actually 5 people on this call from Texas that I know of. I could be off by one. Yeah. Amy, Heather, Elaine, Bona, Eileen. That's a lot of Texas in the room. That's funny. Anyway, sorry. Next up is Michelle. And as you guys are introducing yourself, feel free to drop your, connect link, your podcast link in the show notes. As always, you can save it. And then I also share the chat with the follow-up email.
So my name is Michelle Walters. I did live in Texas twice, actually, but now I live in California. I started my podcast with a friend of mine like a long time ago now, and we have 130 something episodes, which is amazing to me that we've gotten as far as we have. Our podcast
That is huge.
It's commitment, but it really helped to have a partner, and that's something I'd love to share about on a future day. So my business is that I help people with their mindset, their message, and their momentum. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I am starting a marketing community starting next month. And let's see, so podcast host, I've done some podcast guesting. I'm also an author and speaker, and happy to be here. Thank you.
Hey, she checks all the boxes, right? And Michelle and Cynthia have a great podcast. I have been a guest on it, and we're definitely going to have them come into one of these events and talk about what it's like to co-host and how that's different than, doing it all yourself. Okay, AB with an I is next up.
Hello. I'm Texas adjacent. I'm in
true.
Arizona. Not quite, but I'm a historical fiction author, and I have been a guest, and I'm curious about speaking more. So
Yay. Amy, I have recorded an interview with Amy, and that episode will be coming out soon on my pet podcast. What I love about having multiple podcasts is I find guests that I can do an interview with and then use it on all of them. So that's another hot tip. Okay, one of the Amy's with the Y, Castro, you're next.
All right. Hi. So I'm obviously Amy Castro. I actually am a professional speaker in the area of communication and leadership, but I don't have a podcast for that. But I also run an animal rescue and I have a pet podcast called Muddy Paws and Hairballs. So that's my focus for life right now. The speaking just pays the bills, the communication side.
And you're still in Texas, correct? Or have
I'm
you already
still
moved?
in Texas, so if anybody knows anyone that wants to buy 7 acres of property with all kinds of ponds, pools, dog kennel buildings, call me because I'm ready to head to the East Coast. I'm out of here.
And it's so great because I actually connected with Amy, not that first last year at Podfest. I had started a little chat for any pet podcasters, and her and I think we're the only two. And so you never know how you might connect with people. Thank you, Amy. And then
Thanks.
the other Amy with the Y.
Mhm.
Oh, it moved.
Hi, my name is Amy Bolduck. I host a podcast called Grounded in Maine. It is about sustainability. And I think that's all I'm going to say. I have been a guest on podcasts.
Yes. Amy's podcast is amazing. What I love about it is you really make it realistic and you break it down how people can do little things every day to help the environment. I've learned a lot from listening to it, and I especially love the ones you've done on fast fashion and the impact on the environment. Very
There's a
important
good one
topic.
coming up.
Oh, good. Okay. And Amy is a part of what I call my pod fam. Her and I knew each other several years ago, or have known each other, I should say, and we're in a great little community similar to this. And it's also inspired me to start this community. And I always say that community is what I love about podcasting, and that's also what's kept me going. I'm sure some of you would agree. And we see a little dog in the background too. Always a bonus for me.
She's not little, but yeah.
Well, okay, let's see. Next up is Karen.
Hi, everyone. I am both a podcaster and podcast guest. That seemed hard to say today. I am excited to report that I have completed over 200 episodes, but episode 200 won't be published until October because of the queue. So in October, I want to celebrate that. I got to make myself a note. That's another thing to celebrate.
That is a big
October.
thing to celebrate. That's huge.
200 episodes. I'm also celebrating 5 years of my company, Heal Thrive Dream. We are a company with a mission to support women recovering from and healing from complex trauma. And I also want to thank the people in the room that have been on my podcast already. So that would be Michelle, that would be Julie, that would be Tracy, and then of course Elaine. And Elaine and I got so carried away, we actually plan to do part 2 at some point. So thank you, ladies, for being a part of helping my company be so successful.
Of that. And I always laugh when I'm a guest myself, because I always say, well, I'm a podcaster too, and podcasters can talk your ear off, and then you start talking to each other, and 2 hours later you're like, oh, that's a lot of content. Okay, next up we have Elaine.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to be here. I have to tell you, Eileen, I was like, those are the coolest earrings. Because Julie has these cool, big, funky 80s. And I was like, those are so cool. I'm like, yeah, it may be time for some new glasses. So I know so many people here, but my podcast is Captivate the Mic. And as soon as I get my new art cover I'm going to be releasing. My father passed, so it's been a tumultuous year. But I love podcasting because I think you can have really deep, intimate conversations. And to me, they're just so much more fun and real than like a webinar. And I listen to podcasts when I'm doing chores and tedious things. And I love all kinds, and I'm constantly discovering and sharing and being inspired and being like, oh, you got to check this one out. And I just think I just love them. And I have a tendency to fall in love with hosts and listen for every single one that gets dropped by like My Favorite Murder. But
Oh yeah, I have a queue that it keeps growing by the day, right?
it's so fun. And like historical fiction, I love history, but I'm like, ooh, historical fiction. Ooh, that sounds So
Next shiny
I'm just,
object, as we call it.
yeah, I'm just a naturally curious person. And I think a lot of people, when they think about guesting, they don't realize the potential to create a champion and
Yes.
a true partnership with the host
Yep.
and vice versa. So, but I'm going to stop talking because I want to hear all about some more AI stuff because man, my ChatGPT is rocking my world. I'm like, where have you been all my life, dude?
Oh, well, wait, it's not, that's nothing compared to Capsho, let me tell you, Elaine. So,
Okay.
and Elaine has the bonus of being one of my clients, so then I can show her all the fancy tools.
And I just have to show that I'm taking care of the sweetest dog. This is Bear. He's good.
Again, showing pets is a bonus when it comes to me.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna get started with our my conversation with Bona. As always, though, feel free to drop your links, your podcast. If you are looking for guests, put that in there in case someone else might be a good fit in the room. Please do. So Bona and I are gonna talk a little, and then we're gonna open it up to questions. Okay. Let me get. There I am. Add. There we go. We did it eventually. Okay, Bona, I'm so excited to have this conversation again. I'm sure new things will come out. But so in my podcasting journey, I mentioned a minute earlier, Amy and I were in one together. We were in a membership community with David Seiss and Tiffany Kane, aka Casa Media. And one of the things they did was bring in people who had podcasting businesses in some way so we could learn about it. And so back when Capsho was very new, the other co-founder, Deidre, came and talked to us about it and what it does and, you know, all those things. So I've known about it pretty much since early on, but it's changed a lot in the last 4 or 5 years. So that's really why I wanted Bona to come and talk about that journey, why they started it and where they've gotten to. So Bona, can you talk about what it means for you to be a co-founder of Capsho, what that is, and how that whole idea and software started?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Julie, we've only been live for 2.5 years, I think. So, but it has felt like way longer than that because this space is moving so quickly. But yeah, it's been. I was actually on a presentation just before here, and someone asked what it's like to co-found an AI company, and I was just like, it is very, very intense because a minute is a month in this space. I mean, time is just not even a thing anyway for those of us who have businesses, but it feels like in this space it moves by so quickly. And as I'm actually a non-technical founder, so I don't have a technical background, we founded, all three of us co-founders founded Capsho specifically because we had a very big problem writing show notes for our podcast. So that's actually how we started it. We said, surely there's got to be a better way of doing this. And we were very lucky to meet some very brilliant technical minds who said, well, you can leverage AI for that. This is how you might go about it doing it. So we were coaches with a podcast that we had a problem that we were looking to fix. We sort of experimented with it and realized that this particular business was more exciting than the one that we had, which we had kind of just fallen into, to be honest, post-COVID. So this was kind of a space that we got really excited by kind of having been podcasters ourselves and being in the podcasting community and knowing that we actually had a team meeting where we said, okay, we know we have to niche down. We're a super small startup. Who do we think we want to serve? And podcasters was at the top of the list for the very reasons that Julie mentioned. It's such a great community. People were so open to trying new things. They were really open to giving feedback, and they were open to, you know, changing their workflow, seeing what would make it easier for them to get their message out. So we were like, we know we're going to be serving more than podcasters in the future, but this is where we want to start. And that's kind of how Capsho was born. I kind of tell the story of like 2.5 years ago. I'm coming up to 3 years, actually. Maybe exactly 2 years ago, we were at Podfest with a really, really terrible first version of Capsho. And Karen, your name is very familiar to me because I used to do support back in the day myself. I know you're one of our very, very first customers. So we really appreciate that back in the Capsho 1.0 days. So I remember your business, and I know there were some big teething problems, and Karen was, as you can imagine, very, very gracious, very patient as we were working through those issues of being a startup and being first to the space. But this is kind of why we chose podcasting as the niche to start off in. And, being a female founded business, sometimes we try to do all of the things beyond just kind of like, the product part of it, right? So there were some challenges with that. But that's how we started. And like you've alluded to, Julie, it's been a really, really wild ride, and we do a lot more now. But that's kind of, one of my favorite things about how this all came about.
And I love that you said that a minute is a month, because I talk about it all the time. The first year so I was in podcasting, I didn't notice it as much. But the last 2 years, I feel like every month I'm catching up because there's some new tools, some new ways, but it also made total sense to me thinking back that we were thinking about, like, how do we get better show notes? How do we get this right? Because when I started, you had to pay a fortune just to get a transcript, let
Right.
alone show notes and titles and all the things AI does now. So let's talk
Absolutely.
about what Capsho does.
Yeah, for sure. So our bread and butter is that we are an AI content marketing tool, which means that we take your audio and video, which for most of you would be a podcast episode. But if you're only a guest right now, or you have other types of content like Julie has spoken about, it's basically any audio or video content. Actually, a lot of our Capshovians just use Capsho to just upload a voice memo they recorded for themselves, where they're like just kind of talking out something that's on their mind. So anywhere that you have audio or video, whether it's published or not, what Capsho does is it takes that, so you upload it into Capsho. It will transform it firstly by transcribing it, because it works off of the transcript for everything. And it will then say, okay, well, based on this transcript, based on this very, very specific content, it will ask you to set up your persona, which includes who you are, who you serve, what you talk about, and how you serve them. And then it will also ask you to train Capsho a little bit on your tone of voice and how you like to communicate. And then it will take all of that, and then it will create basically a dashboard of all of the content you need, from social media content to blogs to lead gen content to quotes and a whole lot of things. So that's kind of our main sort of functionality. But we have also recently launched what we call Clipping Studio, which basically takes, for those of you who upload video into it, it will also clip your video into sort of ready to use social media clips. And we also have Image Studio, which will actually also you can experiment with to create some AI generated YouTube thumbnails and social media images as well, for those of you who are testing visual hooks, let's say, and using AI for that.
I love that. And I love that you're adding tools as, the uses expand, and, there's so many there. And I think the problem with AI is everybody says there's so many choices. Like, I have that and I have that, just like with emails and CRMs. And so for me, I have Capsho, but I also got Cast Magic again recently because I want to test them. I want to see how they work,
Yes.
see what I like, but I also never want to recommend something I haven't used, right? That's
yeah.
just not okay. But what I love about Capsho is, because it started for podcasting, it really does take into consideration the host's voice, the host perspective, but also what the purpose is of the show, and you can train it and you can change it. And I've even uploaded workshops I do into it for the same thing, helping me maybe write better marketing for it or do better emails. So there's so many ways that you can utilize it without even having to have a podcast. But also, I'm seeing a lot more podcasters share content with their guests now, because it's a lot easier to do that. So if you're using Capsho, you can clip it up and send your guests all these clips that they can push out more easily than, you doing it all yourself. So in terms of where Capsho started and where it is now, what do you see the need really in the AI space with respect to podcasting? What are you seeing people say, we need more of this, or we want to do it this way? Like, kind of what's been that evolution for you?
Yeah, really, really great question. So when we first started out, like we said, we had a problem. We had a very specific problem to say every time it came to publish our podcast episode, which, by the way, we recorded on a $53 mic from Amazon, just on the kitchen table. And we were like, it was just audio. And we were like, oh, of course, this is going to change the world, so we need to publish it. And writing the title and show notes was just such a pain. And the titles were terrible. Now that we look at it, we thought we were so funny and clever and everyone would get it. And it was not the case. So it was a very specific pain point to say, okay, I'm doing all of these things, and publishing is a big problem, right? And then obviously with so we were helping people publish consistently with titles and show notes, but then we kind of went a little bit to say, okay, well, people actually want to grow their podcast. So we started out kind of helping you publish and what we called promoting your show. So very, very simple, like social media posts and things like that and emails that basically helped you go, hey, I've just dropped an episode this week, go and check it out. So that was already a bit of a game changer, and of course a transcript that came with that, just to publish and promote. Now what we're finding is obviously with AI kind of just exploding, and I remember being at an event on the January after ChatGPT launched in November, and in those 6 weeks how much interest AI got, because one of the challenges of launching Capsho so early was educating people about AI and what it could do and what it's safe and things like that, right? So then ChatGPT just got everybody up the curve, and we were like, awesome, we don't have to explain AI, we can just explain how we're different and how you can use ChatGPT alongside Capsho. So that was really, so the education has just gone and adoption has just gone way up, which means people have different problems now, which is awesome, because that's the whole point of entrepreneurship, is to help solve problems intelligently and as resourceful as possible, right? So now what we're finding is, almost in that time, obviously we went beyond just helping people promote. We kind of went, okay, it's more about content marketing. It's about not just building a podcast audience, but what if there's not someone who's listening to a podcast? What if they are searching on Google and you actually answer that question on a podcast, but there should be a blog post that goes with that? So we're helping people diversify their audience build. So that was where we were at. But then now what we're finding is it's very, very overwhelming. Now it's less about, oh yeah, can I create all of these things? It's like, I now feel terrible. Like, we have people, and we speak to our Capshovians a lot. So when people cancel and say, love your product, it just makes me feel really shitty about myself of all the things I'm not doing, right? So we've created a problem, and I will take full ownership as someone in the AI space to say, now you're no longer overwhelmed by the manual tasks. Now you're overwhelmed by the amount of automated things that's in your face and saying, hey, do you want to start a blog? Do you want to start a newsletter? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do a Substack? Do you want to do this? And
Can
you're
I
like,
just take a
no.
moment for that? I hate that every time I log into something, whether it's Kajabi or Google Workspace, it's like, AI, use this. It's like, stop. It's like, it's almost like we're being beat over the head with AI.
Yes.
And so I totally get what you're saying, that it's so overwhelming. We just kind of like push it away and give up, because it's like, I can't do it. And it makes me feel bad about myself. I have episodes that I have in there that I haven't used the blog post, or I haven't done the new newsletter. And it's like, you do think like, I'm missing out, but we only have bandwidth for so much. And I think that's where we get in. Yesterday we talked about is, how do you choose the right thing for you and your podcast, your business? So you can talk a little bit about how Capsho is different and how it's really unique to your voice.
Yes, exactly.
And at some point, can you do like a little demo? Like, I'm having a hard time visualizing.
Yeah, we're probably gonna do a full hour workshop and go through the workflow of Capsho.
Yes, absolutely. More than happy to do that, Elaine. I think because it is something that does create a lot of things, I might actually, by showing you a little bit, I might actually create more questions. So we were talking to Julie about saying, hey, let's just do a step-by-step almost, where you can ask detailed questions about how it would fit into your workflow, because I know everybody works differently. But yeah, no, like I said, full accountability for that. And to be honest, the way that we designed Capsho was probably not ideal, because when we did, we were like excited to give people everything, and as much of everything as we could as well. It's like, here is an all-you-can-eat buffet of content marketing. And then it got very, very stressful for everybody. So it probably can do a better job of helping you pick that. But we were like, well, in the meantime, let's have these conversations, like a human with other humans, and say, Capsho is a tool. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to do all of these things for you. Think of it as a super eager junior person on your marketing team who just has worked while you were sleeping, and has created all of these things for you. And you need to have the executive function, and that's where you need to develop to say, okay, I'm not creating these things anymore, but I'm going to build the executive function and the decision-making skills to decide and experiment strategically with the platforms that make sense for me. So in terms of how it is different, Capsho will, like Julie has mentioned, we're really proud of our tone of voice learner. So we do want to take off some of that effort where you have to keep editing and kind of saying, I don't talk like that. I don't say, hey, pod pals. Actually, I know someone who does say pod pals, which is great. Adam, we love Adam.
Yes, he does.
He says that, which is awesome. And his Capsho says that, but sometimes ChatGPT will just write that in, like, I don't speak like that. So Capsho will take that off of your plate. So that's something that we've invested in. We also have continuous self-learning. So every time you edit on the platform, as long as you mark it as complete and tell us, then that will tell us, so in the background, that we want to keep learning from you. So that we take care of. What we, I guess, in terms of contributing to the problem, we do give you a lot of outputs that can feel overwhelming. So this is where we get involved and say, okay, here are some of the ways that you want to think about which platforms you want to be on. And here are some of the ways that some other people who maybe are less attached to all the different assets, how they use it. So for example, we create a checklist. On the platform, it says, hey, here's a lead magnet, that you can put for your community. And people are like, oh my gosh, I have to do lead magnets now. It's like, no, you can use this checklist as a planning guide. You can use it as a bit of an outline for training to do with your community. You don't have to use it for exactly what it's called. Some people use a checklist as a thing for threads, right? Because it kind of does it in these steps. So that's amazing. We're not going to do another threads output for you because that's only going to feel more overwhelming. So it's really about having the mindset that you are here to use AI. You are not here to bend to its will. You're here to kind of use it for what it does for you. But for that, you need a really good starting point to say, these are the platforms I want to be on and I'm going to commit to. I'm not going to think about the rest for now. I'm going to show up on those platforms and not just publish, but I'm also going to engage back. And then I'm going to keep doing that till that feels really easy before I move on to the next one. So that would be the main workflow recommendation I would have.
Right.
And then the assets are there for you. If in 2 months' time you want to go back and use them, they're not going to disappear. So kind of not having that FOMO
I was
is
going to
very
say
important.
that for me, I'm on YouTube, but I don't spend a lot of time on it. And so that's an area I don't use as much. But what I love about having it is I can drop in there into that section and say, grab me that title, grab me that tag. Because I know that is very different on YouTube than it is for SEO for audio podcasts or social media, right?
Yes.
So the part of the work that it helps me with is knowing the verbiage, the top things and ways to say it for all the different places you can put that content. And I think that that's really important to us as podcasters because we still want it to be us, but we know it has to be said differently depending on where we're putting it.
Exactly.
So I'll probably open it up for questions in a minute, but as a female founded company co-founder, that was a lot in the wrong order probably, in a room full of female entrepreneurs, business owners, podcasters, authors, all the things, what's kind of been your biggest lesson in this 4 to 5 year journey with Capsho and dropping into podcasting, as your focus of the business? What is like something you could share or kind of been your high points or what you've learned in that process?
Oh, so many. So this is just what comes to mind because I think it's very topical for me right now. I imagine it's harder if you have a business where you are the business in a way. So many of you are experts in your space and coaches and consultants. So this may be a little bit harder, but the biggest discipline that I have developed through this, at times very harrowing journey, has been to, and people talk about this all the time, but like, having a healthy level of detachment from the outcome, because it's so obvious in a piece of software, right? And in software, especially, we're always talking about launching earlier than you're ready, which is really, really difficult because, especially if you take pride in your work and you want to create something that's going to be helpful for people. We spoke about this yesterday, Julie, but I'm so cognizant as a business owner myself, we don't take external funding from any VCs or anything like that. So everything we put into the business is our own money. We moved to Australia with we paid a years of rent and just said, okay, let's just make this work. And it was all everything we've built in Capsho has been from our own sort of money that we've kind of built with the community, right? So in making that decision, I'm very, very cognizant of every expense. And that's for our Capshovians too. Everyone's got a business. So every time they pay us every month, I want to make sure that it makes sense to them as to why they're paying it. So that's something that, when you have that level of accountability and interest in what you're putting out, It's can be really difficult when it's not quite what you want, or it's, it's not just about upsetting, if you have an upsetting interaction with customers and things like that, it's like, hey, you really want this to be valuable. And, but if you spend too much time in that space, you don't, we talk a lot about failing forward and things like that. So that balance is really, really hard to strike. And of course, if your ego and your sense of self is too invested in the outcome, that can be extremely difficult being in the entrepreneurship state. So I think I still have a long way to go, but that's been the biggest lesson in terms of how do I practically detach myself from the outcome so that the business and the product and what we're trying to do has the legs as well as the oxygen it needs to do its thing, and to be open to and not sort of project onto any feedback or anything that's not gone as well. Your own self, remove yourself out of the equation to then be able to learn from that and actually be able to, bring something better to life. So that's been the biggest thing, and it's very, very difficult.
I can only imagine, especially, in creating a tool like that. But what I found as a business owner is it's all about our expectations of whatever it is, the new program, the new episode, starting a podcast. I know women who get hung up in the starting, and because they want all the ducks in a row, it's like, no, just start. I started, I didn't edit my first few episodes. I just did it. Do I even want to do it? Right. So
Yes.
yeah, that's such an important thing. Okay. I am going to remove us from the spotlight, and then we will open it up to questions. Just now and earlier I dropped in the link. You can follow Capsho on Facebook, and I also put the website if you want to do a free trial. And if you do a free trial, put my code in, which is Julie. And so if you choose to keep it, it will be at $49 a month instead of $99. So, and it'll stay that way forever unless you stop paying for it. So I highly recommend that. Okay, Karen, I see your hand.
Yes, I think I have 3 questions. But Julie, the first one, the most important question is probably for you, Julie. Do your earrings and your headband actually match?
They don't. They're not exact. I
'Cause
will
I
be
was
very
looking into
honest.
that.
It's been a week. I think a lot of us feel that way. And on the days the hair doesn't get done or is washed and put up, I always say, put on an earring or a headband, and I feel like I'm fancy.
You look fancy, fancy smashing.
Thank you. Cover
Okay,
up
and
the
so then
grays with the frizz.
my 2 questions for you, Bona. It meant a lot to me that you remembered me. That was so good. And I just logged into my account, and I started in 2022.
I remember.
Wow.
You were one of our
Yeah.
first annual plan buys, I remember, and we were like, oh, somebody believes in us this much, and we were like, I don't even know if we believe in us this much, So that's why I do remember that. I was doing customer support for a very long time, so yeah.
Right.
So thank you so much, Karen.
I love that.
Yeah, and so well, I did believe in you all. I didn't believe in myself enough though. And so when my plan ended, I had a lot of credits I didn't use. So I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. And if you
Sure.
want to tell me to meet with you privately, I will. But I'm wondering if I just checked and all my credits have disappeared. The last time I checked, all my credits were there. So I wanted to see if there was a way to get my credits reinstated. I would really appreciate it because it was a lot of money for me at the time. And I stopped just because I was really overwhelmed, and I hired a VA who then took over. But what I would like to do with the credits is to give my VA an opportunity to play with Capsho. And if she feels like it's a good tool for us with what she's already doing, then of course I'm going to do Julie's offer because that's a really great deal. I think it's a better deal than what I paid earlier.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
remember, but
And I will say though,
thank you.
I want to say it was fairly expensive in the beginning, but everything
Yeah.
was in AI because it was brand new, and it took a lot to do what we do in like a split second now. So I totally get what you're saying, Karen.
Yes. Yeah. So I would love my
Sure.
credits back if possible, and then like I said, my VA to try, and then I'm pretty sure this is a deal that we would jump on. So thank you. Considering.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll just clarify. Oh, I just fell over. Can everybody still hear me?
Oh no. We can, but it's like very low. It sounds like your mic might have. Oh wait, talk again. Let's see.
Still not very good? Can
No,
you?
it's good now.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, cool. I
It
just
was
went
like
move.
it faded back and then
Yeah.
came back.
So I think there's this, it's a Shure mic that's like a little bit of a travel mic, and then it's very loose at the connection. So I'll just won't move. No, that's a really great question, Karen. And like I said, we're super transparent about everything, sometimes too transparent probably, but I, want to be fully open about this. So the short answer is absolutely yes. The only thing I wanted to clarify, just for the benefit of everybody, because we have been around for a while, we actually have different versions. So the version that Julie's talking about, that she's mentioned, that I would love for you to try. It's a 7-day trial. Try anyway, but it is very different to the version that you would have had. I happily reinstate the credits that you have in the version that you had, which was Capsho 2.0. It is different. It's a completely different platform because we were and that was one of the most difficult parts, I think, of the Capsho journey, was doing the complete rebuild. But we're off the other side now. So I think what will work best for you, Karen, is, use your credits and get your VA to sort of play around with 2.0, because that still creates some great outputs. But what you see inside of Capsho Next Gen, which is the link that Julie has shared, is going to be quite different. For example, 2.0 does not have the tone of voice learner and things like that. So I think, and I can definitely, I'll send you a note offline as well, just so you have the steps for your VA, but get her to use that, get her to also try the new version. She can compare, and then you can make a decision then. So that's probably the best way to go forward.
I love that plan, because I know I was just so overwhelmed with running a small business, doing Capsho, trying all these other things out, doing all the things. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I will say, one of the things I love about Capsho is they're very responsive, like even within the platform as well as with email. And of course now Bona knows me, so when I email, she's quick to respond. But you get that help. You can ask somebody, why isn't this working, or how do I make it work better? So again, with any kind of function, you want that support too, and Capsho is really good at that. Okay, anybody else have any questions? Okay. Oh, Amy, where are you gonna go?
I do have a question, and I don't, again, like Karen said, I don't want to put you on the spot and make you feel uncomfortable, but with a sustainability podcast, there's a lot of news about AI and the energy usage and the environment. And can you enlighten a little bit on that?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. We actually have so she's no longer using Capsho, but this is a conversation that I had with a previous Capshovian who is also in the sustainability space, probably less directly than yourself, Amy, from what I understand of your podcast and your business. She was consulting and building a coaching business to help primarily women, but sort of leave a more kind of corporate career and kind of start their thing, but with a sustainability angle, because she also taught about how to sort of get into nature more and connect and things like that. So this is a conversation that her and I had kind of just one-on-one, because she just had to consider it, and she was feeling a bit conflicted about using AI in her business. So for those of you who don't know, because a lot of people don't even realize this, I'm sure you would have at least seen some articles on this, AI does use a lot of energy and a lot of the time. That's why it's like when people are just using it for seemingly frivolous things without kind of realizing what that is actually costing in terms of natural resources, but also everything that kind of comes with the logistical operation that is to do all of this. It is absolutely, it's not something that I can deny, because it's not just Capsho, it's everybody who is in the space. And I think it is actually something that I personally wrestle with as well. And I'm more than happy to be put on the spot. I can't speak on behalf of the whole team when it comes to this thing, because that's not my place. But it is something that you would have to, as a person, decide where you stand with this stuff. Because with AI comes a lot of ethical considerations. Alongside the sustainability angle, there's also, we've had people who say, well, hey, for example, do you use my data to train your models and things like that, right? So there's lots of ethical considerations that are still evolving and very, very nascent. So for me personally, I will just say is that I personally also wrestle with this to say, hey, getting into this space was really, really interesting. It's a conversation I had with my partner actually the other day, where I said, long term, is this the thing that I want to do? I don't know. I'm good at this role that I have right now, and I'm learning a lot. In the same way that we talk about, we need more women in STEM. We need people of different. Obviously, I'm an ethnically diverse person. I am, I'm a woman. All of these things, those perspectives are required in technology. As someone who's non-technical, that's required. But what is the trade-off when it comes to things like sustainability? I don't have a really, really convenient and very emphatic answer on that. Just like everybody else, I'm still working it out myself, I would say. But it is something that plays on my mind. Now, like Julie has said, we have gotten more efficient, like at it. But like how capitalism works, it seems that the more efficient we can be at something, we just want to do more of it. And we don't really think about, it's not about going, hey, we've saved some of these resources, let's put it back into where it came from. It's like, no, that just means we can do more for quicker, we can do more quicker, cheaper, faster, and things like that. So and this is kind of off the record a little bit, but I struggled, for example, launching our image studio because I was like, the official line will be, of course, experiment with it. It is something that is happening, so we can't shy away from it. But at the same time, I'm like, is this really where the world's resources should be going? Especially knowing artists myself. Anyway, so all of that to say, it is a very complicated answer, a very good question. I will always answer honestly, and I'm still wrestling with it myself.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've
I'm
like
so
brought it up
glad.
with some people, and they're like, it's not true. And I'm like, really? And so to hear that from you is really helpful. I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely. It's just something that I am becoming more interested in, for example, I don't have children, but I have a niece and I have children in my life, and they ask me these questions, right? So it's something that we have to educate ourselves around. Now, where you stand on it might be different. You might, when someone says, well, I think the trade-off is worth it. Cool, we can have that conversation. I think we'll have different values when it comes to these things. But to say it doesn't exist is not correct. It's not factually correct. Now, you might say, sure, but I think it's worth humanity's progress. Cool, we can have that conversation and people will have different opinions on it. But it is a thing, it is something to consider, it is something to think about as people in the business, it's something to think about as someone who might be using it, and obviously as a trade-off that you're making as well in terms of your tech stack as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Bona.
Of course.
Thank you, Amy. I haven't really heard much about that, but it makes total sense. Like, what is the power usage, just as one example of creating all of these tools? And I will say it's something I think about because this room I am in gets super hot in the summers, and it doesn't help that I have all my computers and all the things and fans and all the heat being, so I think we think about how much heat we generate that way, but we don't think about the tools themselves, the technology, the cellular, the Wi-Fi. Like that is costing us something, even though it makes things very easy for us in other ways. So, gosh, well, that sounds like a podcast episode and maybe even a workshop.
I will say, I will just add to that as not a funny thing, not a haha funny thing, but maybe it's just how life works out. My partner's a data scientist and he has climate change clients, and he is digging into the space around data. It's very specific to liquid natural gas at the moment, but I think at some point he's going to be creeping into my space and finding data as it goes with these things. So we should all have access to more facts when it comes to this to help us quantify our impact, which I think is a great thing. And then we can decide based on evidence rather than feelings.
Would you be interested in a podcast conversation by chance?
I will ask him. It's not his thing. I will definitely ask him though, Amy, because I don't want to speak on his behalf for sure. Yeah.
I mean, like you're saying, Julie, like it would be a really interesting conversation. As it's
and I'm sure that conversation would lead to other people in other areas being like, oh yeah, or I have something to say. But yeah, I like that. Okay, before we lose anyone else, we still have time for questions. I want to do a photo. If whoever wants to be on camera and camera ready, I will give us a countdown. I should have done it earlier, but that's okay. I just don't want to forget. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we can continue. We've got about 10 minutes left. I want to be very aware of your time. We are all booked and busy right now. We can hold on for more questions, or I can send you guys into some breakout rooms for a couple minutes to talk about like what's the thing that stood out to you. See what people are Okay, everybody's a little, so we're gonna put you guys in breakout rooms so you can talk to each other. Okay, let me do that. Should work. Okay. You know what I've learned is the hard thing with Zoom and the AI is that you have to put the AI guy in the right room with the person. And you don't always know which person is the right one. So anyway, it's roulette. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna give you all, I'll do 4 minutes and really talk about what's the one big like aha or oh or question you have or got answered from our discussion today. Then we'll come back and talk about it, and we'll talk about some other things coming up in the community that I would love to get your feedback on. Rooms are open.
Excited.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Anyone want to share a hot take or yeah, Elaine, go ahead.
We were just talking about, like, oh, I have a tool that changes my videos into blogs. Like, I'm always like get excited about the next shiny penny, and like I'm sitting on a lot of pennies that just need to be pulled out, and
Pulled
and
out from the bottom of the sock drawer, like, oh, there you are.
yeah, right. And just like I know part of and I also love how humble you are, how like you're really smart, Bonneray. I feel
Oh,
like that's a
thank you.
movie. Isn't that like a music festival? Bonnaroo, Bonneray, something. I don't know.
Sounds
Oh,
very
I
cool.
know what song you're thinking of.
So, but like the whole ego of like taking my ego out, because I love how into I get for with my clients and my work, and like I just put my heart and soul, and I love that. But also, it's good to just think about that ego and what are the results, and it's not all about me.
Oh, Elaine.
Oh, Elaine.
So we'll have some time for a few more questions, but before, because I know some people will be heading out in 2 minutes. I dropped the link in the chat. June and July party dates are up. August will be up shortly too. We have speakers booked through August, but I'm still looking for speakers, talking to speakers for September, October, and November. And so that is this networking event, 15, 20-minute slot. I see you, Karen. And, that aspect. But the next step for me, hopefully not hopefully, it will happen next month. I'm going to add a workshop as well to this community, and I'm not sure which topic we're going to focus on for the first one. We have so many good ones to do, but I want to add that, and then I may add something else, whether it's a live stream Q&A type thing in addition, or a space just to come and ask questions in general, mastermind around podcasting. So there is an evolution, and in that evolution is me asking all of you what you want, what you need, what you want to see grow within this community that is another asset or resource for you. So please reach out and tell me if there's a topic or a person you think would be good, or if you would like to be one of the networking speakers or workshop speakers. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And I'll also drop my link for a chat if you guys just want to talk to me specifically about that. And it's really just about, this is a community to grow each other, to grow ourselves, but also our podcasts, our businesses. It's not competitive. It's not salesy. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to offer something, a deal on a tool or a thing for you if I don't use it and I don't like it. So I want that to be the nexus of this community, but to be able to grow into a referral, network for all of us. Okay, 1 minute left. If you got to go, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming,
Love you
and
all.
hopefully we'll
Thank you.
see you
Thank you. Thank
soon.
you.
If you have questions, you're welcome to hang out. Bona and I will be here. And Bona, thank you so much again for spending your
course.
time with us and sharing your story
Thank you
and,
so
you know,
much.
hopefully working with us a little more in the future, because I think, you know, that's the thing about women in business, entrepreneurs, women founded companies. Nothing bad happens to my business because I support your business or any one of yours business, right? It doesn't impact me. Even if we were doing the same exact business, I'm not the right person for everyone and vice versa. So that's what this space is about. And so hopefully you'll come back. You will. And please share it. Share it. People, you do not have to have a podcast. You do not have to have ever guested. This is a space to learn and grow. So maybe that's a possibility in your future. Thank you,
Love
guys.
it. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Lovely to meet everyone.
Julie,
Bye.
what's the Ask a Podcaster panel Q&A? Is that different than this?
No. So what I'm playing with doing in June is, instead of one speaker for the space, is to have 2 or 3, like a panel, and it be just an open Q&A. So what I was calling it is ask a real podcaster your burning questions, like for the people who aren't, or the people who aren't doing it the way you do it. And so that's just what I put on there for now, but it may change in terms of it. So I'm just thinking 2 or 3 podcasters here, and it'll just, like, I'll spotlight them and then open it up to people to just ask them questions. Talk about the different ways people are doing it. Like Michelle said, she's co-hosting. Well, I don't have never done it. I don't know what that looks like workflow wise, let alone logistics. So it's kind of more of a space for people to just talk about how they do it and why, so that people can learn from that, but also from our mistakes. But maybe I'll change it. I do think what it's going to happen is every month, in addition to the 2 networking options, is I'm going to add some type of panel for people to come and ask questions on a topic or theme or whatever it is, because I think that there's so much more in that interacting of the relationship, just like on podcasts. So that's kind of what I'm testing out and also asking people feedback on. So, and if you would like to be on a panel, Amy, I knew the answer, but I'm not gonna not ask.
I literally was at a meeting 2 weeks ago, the New England Podcasters meeting, and I just changed my name like Tuesday,
Right.
and then the meeting was on Saturday, and I was like, I'm so excited. Like, my win is I changed my name, and then I just started bawling, and I'm like, I can't speak in front of people. Like, I'm supposed to record a podcast episode with my New England podcaster friends next month, and I was asked if I wanted to be like the mediator, the moderator thing. I'm like, I don't know if I can't cry. I don't know if it's possible anymore.
Which, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
unless I can't recover.
But I totally get what you're saying. I first noted that sort of thing with me with my pet podcast, when I'd get into great conversations and it's about an animal that's passed or suffered, and then a couple months ago, I had 4 different friends within a 2-week period lose a parent. It was like, it was crazy. And having lost my dad, I didn't realize it at first.
Not a pet.
A parent.
Still hard.
Yeah, I mean, and some of them, they were sudden, other, you know, Elaine was one of them. It was hard, and I felt triggering of my own experiences. And I had an episode scheduled with 2 people who co-founded a very new company that they use DNA of your pet or person in jewelry and photo frames.
Yep.
And I had it scheduled, and I reached out and I said, I think you guys will understand, but I don't have the capacity to talk about this. I want to talk about it clearly so we can talk about your amazing business. I don't want to be like, you know, like, not that I ever really do that, but you don't know.
Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, you're just like, it's like, I tear up all the time, but like, to just lose my crap. I talk all the time on the computer. I just can't do it in front of people I know. And that's actually that's typical for me. Like, I used to sing. Like, I used to sing in choirs forever and ever, but now I can't. I can't do it out in public, like in front of somebody that I know.
Oh, sorry. I just realized